I'm Joel Meskin, Vice President of Community Association Insurance and Risk Management. One of the most frequently asked questions we get is, what is the difference between defense outside the limits and defense inside the limits? Defense outside the limits, as we have in one of our policies, is where you may have a $1 million policy and the insurance company is providing a defense, and that defense basically they may end up paying, theoretically, although it almost rarely happens, they may pay $10 million in defending an action, and there still is $10 million limits to pay in the event of a settlement or judgment. Then we have a situation where we have defense within the limits. If there's defense within the limits, that means if you have a $1 million policy, then you may spend $200,000 or $300,000 defending a case, and that will reduce the $1 million limit you have on the policy. So let's say you spent $200,000 in defending a case, leaving $800,000 limits. That's the amount that you would have to pay any settlement or judgment. What you have to keep in mind, however, is whether you have an umbrella policy that will drop down and step in to defend in the event that the limits are reduced. That's a key question you should ask your community association insurance professional. See, that is defense inside the limits. However, you add an additional amount of defense outside the limits. So you may have $1 million of liability under a policy plus an additional $1 or $2 million of defense outside the limits. What happens in that scenario is the defense outside the limits that is designated solely for defense is expended first, and if that amount is used up, then it will start reducing the $1 million limits as if it was defense inside the limits. In the directors and officers liability policy, especially if you have a following form D&O policy that will provide a drop-down defense, that is something that very well is an appropriate limit of liability for you to have for a community association.